Pre-launch positioning. There's a common misconception. I've used the word misconception a lot of times, and the truth is we have a lot of misconceptions in this particular industry. One of them is the fact that people think that marketing starts after publishing. That's a very wrong idea. Now, what is the truth? The truth is marketing starts before the book even exists. Let's see some of the things I have here. The misconception that marketing starts after publishing, that is why most books fail. By the time you publish, it's already too late to start from zero. So, what does marketing start before the book exists mean? It means that the moment you know that you are going to write this book, that this is something you want to do, you should begin to create anticipation for it. You should begin to get readers' attention. You should begin to create awareness about it. It happens so that most times, sometimes for authors, until even the book is printed, they have not, even on their WhatsApp status, they've not said anything about the book, and then they just come once and just say, I have a new book, so all of a sudden, after you've spent all the money, before the book gets to the publisher, you should begin to create awareness about it. In fact, if you can create a Google form, send it out, that will let you know how many people are likely interested in what you're about to write. So the aspect of marketing it should never be an afterthought. It should never be something you now resort to, something you feel like at the end of the day, we have to do it. So let me pen it. Let me work on the publishing first. So it should not be something that you now submit to, if at the end of the day, because you thought the sales will be automatic, and if at the end of the day it is not automatic, you now say, well, I have no choice than to market. No, you should start with the idea that whether you get organic sales or not, you have to market. And if you do it like that, the marketing needs to start even before, sometimes before you even finish writing. But most times, before it gets to the publisher, you should begin to create awareness. Why pre-launch matters? Now, you know that pre-launch sale is something that is common in book sales. People offer pre-launch offers. They do pre-launch offers most times for books, for courses. And what they do there is that if the book is going to cost maybe 10,000, they can offer the pre-launch for like 7,000 or 6,000. That is one of the strategies that works. But most times authors do that when the book is even about, let's say, 1 week. That is too late. The pre-launch will start before it even gets to the publisher. Most times before it gets to the editor, before the editing starts. What does the pre-launch do? Build anticipation, create demand, warms audience. And it's not something you do once and you just talk about it once. It's something you continue to talk about repeatedly. There's something we call frequency in art. Frequency is the number of times an individual sees something. So we use it to determine how converting an ad will be. So sometimes if your frequency is 4.0, it converts more to ad with frequency of 2.0, because most times human being, our nature, we hate ads. The moment you see an ad, you deliberately just try to skip it. But if you see that thing again and again and again, it begins to build a presence inside your brain, even subconsciously. You don't have to think about it. It's already creating deposits inside your mind. It's how you listen to a song that naturally you don't like that song. It's not a song that you listen to. But after hearing that song repeatedly, maybe from airplays and all that, you begin to sing that song before you even realize that, which song am I singing? That is how the subconscious works. Because it is not everything it is not every action you take that you think through. Some things happen automatically. So what does the pre-launch so why does pre-launch actually matter? It helps build anticipation, creates demand, and warms the audience. Then what are the simple strategies you can employ? Share the process, talk about the problem, involve the audience. Now what this means is that from the writing stage to the editing stage to the cover design to the copyright application, ISBN, talk about every process, create anticipation, share the process with them. The moment your cover is out, share it with your audience, ask what they think about it. These are what you do. Get them involved in the process. You must have informed them earlier about what the book is about, the things that are in your head, the value embedded in the book, why they need to get the book. You have already started creating anticipation for that book. They're already interested in getting it, and then you even keep them in the loop. You share the process, you talk about the challenges you faced, you talk about how the editing took longer than you thought it would, how many corrections you had to make to the cover design before you eventually arrived at what you want. Get them involved in the process. So let's share an instance where a scenario where this works. In the movie industry, for instance, you see people talk about, you see stuff like so movie coming to the cinema on so date. But when you see that thing, that is even sometimes 1 or 2 months to the launch date. Because by the time they are done with everything, they know this thing is a reality. They've given them a likely date. You are sure that by this particular date, this movie is out. They are sure. That is when they begin to create anticipation about it. They begin to tell us this movie will be in cinema, this movie will be available on so date. People begin to create anticipation for it. People begin to talk about it. Yes, I have to go and watch that movie. I've seen the preview, I've seen everything about it. I think I've seen the cast. They are very it promises this, it promises that. They begin to create anticipation for it against the launch date. Some people even do countdown, 10-day countdown, 10 days to go, 9 days to go, 8 days to go. What is this thing doing? People have a lot of things going on in their head. You don't take, say, before, because you talked about the book once, you should keep on in their memory. They've forgotten about you. They've forgotten about whatever you say you wrote inside the book. That is why it's important to be consistent, to continue to talk about it, to continue to remind them, continue to create anticipation, share updates about the book. Sometimes you can even share a snippet. Maybe it's a fiction, you can share a part of it and say, okay, this and more in my upcoming, this. That is how you do that. I was speaking with an author a few days ago, and it was like, no, he has so much, a very big dream about the book. He wants the book to reach a global audience, bestseller, millions of. And this is what I told him. I understand you, but you know that the reality of that bestseller starts with your first sale. You have to sell a copy of your book before you can sell 1 million. So your focus should be, how do I get my first buyer? From 1 buyer to 10 to 100 to 1,000 to millions. And that is how the progression is. So I know the dream is big, but you have to start from somewhere. And that is what is important. So what do you even do even with zero audience? You start small, be consistent, and you focus on the value. And just like I have here, you don't need thousands of followers. You need the right people paying attention. So can you even convince, you start from your local followership, start from your status viewers, start from the people in your church, start from the people in your community. Can you convince them Can you get them to buy? Before you start talking about the global community, before you start talking about random people on Amazon, I know those things are what you should think about. But in realization of the dream you have, you should be able to start small. So what is the key takeaway in all of this? Number one, don't publish, then promote. So what do you do instead? You promote before you publish. And that is it. And let me state it again. You should begin to promote, to market your book before or when you finish the writing. I mean, before, publishing starts after writing. So before the publishing starts, after you are done writing, before the publishing, you should begin to market the book. Or even when you are closing in to the end of the book, you should begin to create awareness about it. And by the time you speak with your publisher and they can give you a sure date, that's okay, on this particular day, we can actually launch the book. The book should be published by this so date. You should begin to create awareness about it, because by then you are sure of everything. You should begin to create flyers, talk about the book, talk to your audience, create a lot of content centered around the book. Most times it's easier to sell a book using a community. If your book is about a particular, maybe about children or about marriage and something, you could create a community around the book. Get like minds involved. You can create a lead magnet, let them sign up, create awareness about it. You can create a Facebook page. Talk to people about it, let them follow, begin to create content centered around the book, against the launch of the book and even beyond. Thank you.